Hello, my name is Andrew, and this is Andrew's Epic Animals. I have a lot of pets. One of them is this one. I currently have I currently have 5 lizards, 1 tortoise, 11 rats, and several colonies of insects that I don't know if you'll count them as a pet, but like I do, because I care for them, so like I count them as a pet. So if we count all those up, that's 20. This is 10. I have 20 pets. This is also just a disclaimer. Do not look at this video and go, oh, having 20 pets seems fun. Let's try that. Don't do that. I have 20 pets because I have the ability to care for 20 pets. If I had 20 like different animals like monitor lizards or dogs, I would not be able to care for that many animals. But because a lot of these are lower care kind of animals like leopard geckos and like the rats, honestly, caring for all of them is kind of its own task. So I kind of see caring for the rats as like its own like a pet, if that makes sense. So I'm not trying to encourage like animal hoarding or like any of that. I can care for these animals and I would not have these animals if I couldn't. I would rehome these animals if I suddenly found myself unable to care for them. So please don't use this as an excuse to not care for animals. Animals deserve our utmost care that we can do. Anyways, disclaimer aside, this is the first pet of today's pet introduction video. This is Kiwi. Kiwi is a male bearded dragon. He is probably about a year old now. We got him from somebody nearby who was moving or couldn't care for him for whatever reason when he was maybe as big as my finger. And he has grown quite nicely since then. He's maybe not full grown, but he's getting there. He's certainly getting there. And he loves to just hang out and chill. I take him with me places. I'll take him to like Target, the dispensary. They know me as Kiwi's dad. And so that's fun. But we're not really sure where he came from, but he is such a good boy, aren't you? He's like the star, so he's more of a star than I am. What do you think, buddy? Anyways, that's Kiwi. On to the next. Next up, we got Cookie. Cookie is a leopard gecko. Man, it got dark out just now. Cookie is a leopard gecko. He is also a rescue. We were told he was a year old, so which would make him about a year and a half old now, but like, we were also told that this person's neighbor randomly moved out and just left him, and so this lady was just taking care of him who didn't really know or want a leopard gecko, you know? She was just kind of stuck with a leopard gecko, and so we got him for like $20 on Craigslist, and he has just been a delight. I don't know if you can see, but you can see straight through his little ears. You can't see. That's okay. He has just been an absolute delight to have. He is in this 20-gallon right here, and he's active, and he's a happy boy. He's definitely not the most social of our animals, but I mean, he's a rescue. We're working on it. He's totally fine with handling. He just doesn't prefer it. I call him my little cookie monster. His name's Cookie. And he's just a super cool little guy. I think he's an albino. See, he's got those like lighter colors. We took pictures of him to a actual breeders convention for reptiles and asked leopard gecko breeders, hey, what morph do you think this is? And they were like, no idea, albino something. So that's helpful. But anyway, I mean, it doesn't really matter what morph he is. He's just a really cool looking gecko. So if you know what morph he is, put it in the comments, because I would love to know. Not that it's like it's not a requirement, but like I would like to know. But yeah, isn't he great? Isn't he fucking awesome? He's so cool. He's so cool. Next up, we have the monster lizard who lives there. He lives in a 75-gallon. No. Next up, we got Gumbo. Gumbo is a Maruki blue-tongued skink who likes to climb and be on people's shoulders. We got him in December from a Repticon when he was maybe this long, and this is his 75-gallon enclosure behind me. He is just as huffy and puffy as he was when he was a baby, but he tolerates handling much better. He's got that beautiful blue tongue. He is a Maruki blue-tongued skink, which is a subspecies of blue-tongued skink from Indonesia. So he's got kind of a humid enclosure. And I've heard that they get kind of big compared to some other blue-tongued skinks. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't been able to find a source that would tell me since. But I don't care. He's just the coolest. And he'll just sit right there and just look at us while we're eating, or while we're watching TV, while we're just hanging out, and he'll just stare at us, which is fun. But yeah, blue-tongued skink, 10 out of 10 lizard, fantastic, gorgeous pet, and I love him to death. I'm covered in sand now, and that's because I was just fishing for my sandfish skink in his sandbox. This is Mochi. He is from a reptile pet store. They did not know how old he was. Hey. He's feral. I think he's wild caught, which our bad for assuming that the pet store that we went to wouldn't sell us a wild caught animal. But he's gorgeous. And I call him a little shovel face because, like, you can't tell me that's not a shovel face. Can you focus? Please focus on the lizard. Please. He's sticking his tongue out for you. Can I, if I move? He's just the coolest guy. And look at those little hands. Like, he's got these weird little shovel-y hands. I'll get some close-ups of him because he's really cool. He's really feisty. And I think he's a male because of the colors. But I'll show you why he's called a sandfish skink here in a minute. Last up, out of the lizards on this list, our list of lizards, if you will, is our African fat-tailed gecko, Chip. Named after Cookie, the leopard gecko. You know, chocolate chip cookie, chip, cookie. It made sense to me. And he is a baby, obviously. He's got that beautiful stripe down his back. He is our newest animal, actually. So he hasn't had the time to really get used to us, but he's still really calm when we handle him. And so I'm very happy to have him. I love him to death. I've wanted an African fat-tailed gecko since I knew they existed, which, albeit not that long ago, I only got into reptiles a couple years ago, really, and my love of reptiles really took off probably a year and a half ago now. But ever since, I've wanted one of these, and I'm so happy to say that I finally have one in my collection. Next up, we've got Squirtle. Squirtle here is a male Russian tortoise who is currently munching on some lettuce, or some curly kale, I think. We don't know how old he is. We got him, again, as a rescue, and I think the people we got him from got him originally from like a pet store, so, well, at least we weren't the ones supporting the pet store. But we don't know exactly how old he is. They said he was a baby. He is a full-grown Russian tortoise. So he could be as old as me for all I know. But either way, he is just a joy to watch wander around and eat. He loves to eat. And I'm really glad he hasn't peed on me yet because he likes to do that too. So I'm gonna put him back. But isn't he just amazing? I'll get on with it. These first two rats are gonna be a quick one because they're sick. I don't know if you can hear that little crackling coming from this one, but these two have a respiratory infection. So they've been quarantining together, just like my partner and I during 2020. And we've been giving them lots of medicine and critical care to try to help them. But they are also from a pet store originally, and you know, probably reaching older years in rat terms. They're over a year old now, which rats typically live 2 to 3 years, but since they're from a pet store originally and they've had this has gone on a while now, and we've just been giving them medicine and going to the vet again and giving them more medicine and going to the vet again, and it's, well, we love them to death though, but we don't know how much longer they're gonna be here, which that's kind of why I started doing videos, I guess, is because I want more documentation and more like appreciation for my animals. And I want to be able to look back on this when they're gone, because we've had animals that we didn't take as many pictures of at first because we thought they would be here for a while and then they weren't. And so I wanted to have a lot of proof that these guys were here because I just love them so much. But this is Egg McMuffin, and this is Sausage Biscuit, her sister. They have another sister named Hot Sauce, who you'll see in a minute, who isn't sick, and so she'll be the first healthy rat we show. But let me get these two girls back to their quarantine cage. This is Twig. Twig was supposed to be a feeder rat, and so luckily a vet tech, where she's from in Jacksonville, Florida, saw her and was like, she's too damn cute to be food for a snake, and so they rescued her. And so she was also had a little bit of the respiratory infection for a while, so they were looking for friends for her for a while, and then a couple months later she was still dealing with the respiratory infection, so they didn't quite know what to do, and then the person who had her ended up going to college, same college I go to, coincidentally. And so we've been good friends for a while. And so he was like, hey, I know you have a lot of rats. What's one more? Would you like one more? I have one more. And we were like, absolutely, we would like one more. And so they thought she was a male, but like, you'll see the males later. And you can, as soon as I picked her up, I was like, this is a girl. This is a little lady. You're super cute. And she doesn't quite know how to behave with the other rats because she didn't have any rat friends, but she's been getting along okay. Some of them try to pick on her sometimes, so we've been slowly but surely trying to introduce them, and we'll maybe have a video about that coming out. If y'all would like, let me know if you want some more rat content, because we'll get more rat content. This is Hot Sauce. We got her at the same time as we got Sausage and Egg, and as you can see, she's not doing any of the respiratory stuff that the other two were, and she's still got quite a bit of meat on those bones. So she is all healthy and good, so she's not being quarantined with them. Although she was at one time, she's now doing fantastic. So we're very happy with her. She is an albino rat, obviously. She's got those ruby red eyes and white fur, and she's also a top-eared rat, so she's got her ears on the top of her head. Thank you for putting your tail in my mouth. I appreciate it, yeah. And we've had her for the same amount of time as the other two, so she's probably a little over a year old now. And we're coming up on your gotcha day. Yeah. Up next, we've got Taco here. This is Taco. She's a Dumbo rat, as you can see by those big ol' ears. And also Tia, otherwise known as Tapatia, named after Hot Sauce, after a brand of hot sauce that my partner really likes because she kind of looks like hot sauce, except she's got those Dumbo ears and the brown on her nose, and she's like really soft. We got them at the same time. We got 4 rats actually from the same breeder near us. I don't know if they were the most reputable breeder. They seem to be breeding more for like look and quantity than like health, because they were all in like kind of bin setups, which like, I know it happens, but I had my doubts, right? But the other 2 rats that we got, one of them looked very, very similar to Taco, except more black on her like tummy and stuff and less white. Her name was Burrito. She died just suddenly, randomly. We had them all in the playpen one day, and it was just out here, and I went to check on them and I couldn't find Burrito. I turned over a box and she was just gone, and no sign, like a little bit of blood on her nose, but like no nothing. The breeder, I contacted the breeder. The breeder said that they'd had a couple issues with this genetic line and that it was going to be discontinued. Great, I guess. But Burrito and Tamale, the other baby we got when we got Taco, did not take it well. She started like chewing on her tail and was being bullied by the other girls because her and Burrito were kind of the smallest of the bunch and were kind of, you know, sisters. And so we ended up giving Tamale to a rescue in South Florida who, they specialize in like helping rats who maybe weren't bred the best or have some issues, and rehabbing them as well as like breeding their own pet rats. And so she's doing great now, and I think we made the right decision. It was a hard decision, but like it was a good one. Tamale definitely appreciated it because she's doing well now. But this one's Tia. Tia was not a baby when we got her. Tia had been a breeder rat, and this breeder had bred her twice, and she ate all of her babies. So the breeder was like, I will give you this rat for free, or she will be fed to a snake. And then he picked her up and plopped her in our hands, and we were like, well, I guess I gotta take her now because you put her in my hands and she's free and you're gonna kill her if I don't. But honestly, even though we got more rats than we intended that day, I'm so glad we got her. She can see now, she's just looking at me. She's just the sweetest. And I'm so happy that she's ours. So when we brought Tamale to that other rescue, we were left with one baby. And if you know anything about rats, you're supposed to have same age companionship for rats. So when we gave Tamale to that breeder, to that rescue, we ended up getting these two rats. Well, we got this one. We also got another rat who was hairless, we named Meatball, but Meatball ended up hating us, despising us, would try to bite us all the time. Even if we weren't trying to touch her, we were trying to touch another rat nearby, Meatball would bite us. We reached out to the breeder and brought her back to that breeder actually, because apparently there was some friendships that we didn't know about, and so separating Meatball from her best buddies made her upset because now she's super happy. Figures, right? But we got Mocha here instead. So this is Gnocchi and Meatball, So this is Gnocchi and Mocha. Mocha is a Dumbo. They are both Teddy Rexes, so they've got the curly hair of a Rex. That's the gene that makes their hair curly, but also it's super soft. And Mocha's got the big Dumbo ears and also a little bit of brown on her nose. So is she a Siamese? I don't know. But she's also this soft, super soft, like Chex Mix almost kind of color. We almost named her Chex because of that. But we ended up going with Mocha because it fit kind of it didn't really fit much more than Chex did, but I don't know, I liked it more. And this is Gnocchi. Gnocchi has the red eyes and is a fancy, or a top-eared rat. So her ears are on the top of her head. She's also a Teddy Rex, so she's got the curly hair of a Rex with the super soft Teddy hair. I don't know much about rat genetics, but this is what they were sold to us as. And you know, they fit the bill, like they're super soft and have the curly hair, so like, I know that much. And they took a little bit of warming up, but honestly, they are fantastic and they're super friendly now. Hey. And this is the last of our girls. Now we've got 3 males, and I guess I'll go get them. Our first little boy here is Scabbers. You can see here there's a big difference between Scabbers and the females, like I was showing with Twig. You know, the distinct lack of something that Scabbers has. Scabbers is a silver mane. We got him and his 3 brothers, Scabbers, Moony, Dobby, and Sirius. We got them from a lady who couldn't take care of them anymore, but had recently gotten them from a breeder who we actually found on Instagram. So we have their baby pictures from this breeder, and we're gonna reach out probably because if I was breeding rats, I would want to see how they turned out as adults, and you know, to know that they were doing okay. He's got this super cute little white tummy, and he's super soft. That's what the silver mane gene makes him like really soft and like, you know, silver. And he's just an absolute joy. He's just the friendliest little guy, and he loves treats, and he loves attention, and he's one of, like, I shouldn't play favorites, but like, this one's special, you know? In all honesty, this is actually the second time I filmed this whole video. The first time was a couple weeks ago, back when we had all 4 boys. But literally that day, Sirius passed away. He was a black top-eared rat. I'll put some footage of him being cute here. He was totally fine that morning. I went to film this video and I was handling him and I was like, I think he's getting kind of sick. He seems to have some little respiratory thing going on like the girls have. Let me give him the medicine that we gave her, because we talked to the vet and the vet was like, yeah, if any of them also start showing symptoms, just start putting them on the medicine, see how they do. And, you know, then contact the vet, obviously. Because it was late in the evening, I was like, okay, give him the medicine, I'll contact the vet in the morning. By the time my partner had come home from work at like 10 or 11 at night, he was dead, and it was terrible. And so that kind of made filming kind of hard. So this has been in the works for a hot minute now, but rip Sirius. I miss him. He was a very good boy. This is Moony. Moony is by far our fattest rat. He is a big chungy man. We also call him Lunar Gooner. I call him Gooby. Now I call him Booby because he's as big as a boob. But he is a super explorer. He's a very curious rat. He really likes to wander around and explore and will jump out of the cage unprompted if you let him. He's a little daredevil like that. But he's also just a huge sweetheart and really loves attention. And so even when we got our boys and they hadn't been super well socialized, Mooney was super friendly. And so he's always been just a huge cuddly sweetheart. And I love him to death. He's also a Dumbo. He's got those big ol' ears, just like Scabbers, and several of the girls we have. And we've had him since January, along with his 3 brothers, now 2 brothers. We've all had since January. This is Bobby, otherwise known as Dobby. That's his actual name. We started calling him Dobbert, which led to us calling him Robert, and now I call him Bobby. Like Jenna Marbles and Mr. Marbles, call him Bobby. And I just love him. He was the least socialized of the boys, so he actually, and he was sick when we got him. So in giving him medicine, he ended up not liking us a whole lot. He actually bit my partner a couple times, but now he's just totally chilled out. And so since we've been working with him and he's healthy now, he's just a super sweet boy. Was that a little sneeze? You better not be sick again. I was just telling them how healthy you are. He's got this beautiful tummy. And he's also a Dumbo. So he's got those big ol' ears. And he's a Rex, like the other girls, like Gnocchi and Mocha are. So he's got those curly whiskers and curly fur. You can really see it, the curls more on the boys, I think. I think that's just a thing with the gene. I don't know, I'm not a rat gene person. I just love rats. But Bobby's really become a special boy to me. Now, if you've ever had a reptile, you'll know this is a superworm. I breed superworms, so I make them pupate, and then he's totally fine. He's totally fine. This is a superworm. I breed them. So that's one of my insect colonies. That includes both the box the worms come in and the beetles that they become, who have to live separately from the worms because they will, in fact, eat the worms. And they also have a separate container where there's like a whole bunch of little compartments for them to pupate in, because they will not pupate into beetles and therefore will not reproduce without individual space. Interesting evolutionary thing, I think. But I just think the beetles are super cool. We also have mealworms and their beetly counterparts, and they are even easier to keep than the superworms. They're smaller, even the beetles are a lot smaller, and they don't need to be separate to breed. So we have all of their stages of life just living in a bin. Here's the third colony of insects that I have. These are the Dubia Roaches. No, not Dubia Roaches, because those are illegal in Florida. These are discoid roaches. And let's see if I can find one for you guys. There's one. And they are just like the mealworms. They live here and breed here and do everything they need to do. I feed them scraps of food sometimes, and they just make more lizard food. That is all of the pets that I have. And I say I mean my partner and I. I definitely can't take care of all of these animals alone. It's a joint team effort. They just don't want to be on camera, which is totally valid. You know, you do you. I support that. But if you would like to see more content of these incredible creatures in my house, I live in a zoo. I love it so much. Please like, comment, share, do all that jazz. Hit the notification bell, subscribe. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. And have a fantastic rest of your day.